Daf Yomi, Tractate, Sanhedrin, 24b, Part 2. Shalach le Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda le Rav Nachman bar Yaakov. Yes, it's the words. It's a little bit more than half the daf, I would say. The words Shalach le Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda, Rav Nachman bar Yaakov. Yelamdeinu Rabbeinu lifnei gemar din machlokes o leachar gemar din machlokes. Halacha kedivrei mi, Shalach le leachar gemar din machlokes, v'halacha kedivrei chachamim. Rav Nachman, the son of Rav Chizda, sent the following question to Rav Nachman bar Yaakov. Our teacher, instruct us. Does the dispute concern whether or not one can retract his acceptance before the verdict is issued, or does this dispute concern whether or not one can retract his acceptance after the verdict is issued? And furthermore, in accordance with whose statement is the halacha? Rav Nachman bar Yaakov sent to him in response. The dispute concerns whether one can retract his acceptance after the verdict is issued, and the halacha is in accordance with the statement of the rabbis. Rav Ashi Amar Ahachi Shalach Le Be'eten Lecha Be'eten Lach Machlokes O B'mechulach Machlokes Halacha Kedivrei Mi Shalach Le Be'eten Lach Machlokes Halacha Kedivrei Chachamim. Rav Ashi says a different version of the question and answer. This is the question that Rav Nachman, son of Rav Chizda, sent to Rav Nachman bar Yaakov. Is the dispute with regard to a case where the defendant says, I will give you, or is the dispute with regard to a case where the claimant says, the money I claim you owe me is forgiven you? And furthermore, in accordance with whose statement is the halacha? Rav Nachman bar Yaakov sent this response to him. The dispute is with regard to a case where the defendant says, I will give you, and the halacha is in accordance with the statement of the rabbis. B'sura masnuhachi b'pumpedisa masnuhachi. Amar Rav Chanina bar Shlemia. Shalchu le nibei Rav l'Shmuel. Yamdeinu Rabbeinu. Lifnei gemar din v'kanu miyado mai shilach lehu. Ein la'achar kinyan klum. In Surah, they teach that previous version of the question and the answer. In Pumbedita, they teach this following version. Rav Chanina bar Shlemia says that they sent the following question from Rav's study hall to Shmuel. Our teacher instruct us. In a case where one litigant wishes to retract his acceptance of the judges before the verdict is issued, and the other litigant had performed a formal act of acquisition, with him giving legal power to the acceptance, what is the halacha? Shmuel sent them in response, nothing can be retracted after an act of acquisition was performed. New Mishnah. Ve'elu hein apsulin hamisachik b'kuvia v'yamal ve'beribis v'africhi yoinim v'sachore shviis. And these are the following list of the ones who are disqualified by the sages from bearing witness due to their unseemly behavior, as they are considered wicked individuals guilty of monetary transgressions. One who plays with dice, bekubia, for money, and one who lends money with interest, and one who flies pigeons, those who fly pigeons, and merchants who trade in the produce of the sabbatical year, which may be eaten but may not be sold as an object of commerce. Amar Rabbi Shimon Batechila ayu koirin oisan osve shvius mishrabu hanasin chazu likroisan socher shvius. Rabbi Shimon said initially the people would call them gatherers of the produce of the sabbatical year. Once the tax collectors grew abundant, they would then call them merchants who trade in the produce of the sabbatical year, as the Gemara will explain. Amar Rav Yehuda, Eimatai bizman she'ein lahem umnut ela hu, aval yesh lahen umnut shlahu kasherin. Rav Yehuda said, when are the people listed above disqualified from bearing witness? It is when they have no occupation but this one. But if they have an occupation other than this one, although they also make money by these inappropriate means, they are fit to bear witness. The Gemara says, Masach B'Kuvia, Mai Ka'avid, Amar Rabbi Bar Chama, Mishum Dahavi Asmachda Asmachta Lokanya. With regard to one who plays dice for money, what is he doing that disqualifies him from bearing witness? Rami Bar Chama says he is disqualified because he is gambling, because gambling is a transaction with inconclusive consent. As one who gambles does not have conclusive consent to pay when he loses, since he plays under the assumption that he will win, and an asmachta does not affect acquisition. The one who wins takes money that is not legally his, and is considered a robber. Rav Sheshes Amar, Kol ki hai gavne lav asmachtahi, el lefi she'ein asukin b'yeshivo she'olam. Rav Sheshes says any case like this is not an asmachta. In a game of dice, both sides realize that they might lose and consent at the outset to pay if that happens. Rather, those who play dice are disqualified because they are not involved in settling the world. In other words, in productive occupations that demand hard work, since they do not realize the effort required of most people to earn a living, they might not be scrupulous about other people's money, and their testimony cannot be relied upon. My binayu, ika binayu, the Gemara ummanuta achriti. The Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between the explanations of Rabbi Bar Chama and Rav Sheshet? The Gemara answers, the practical difference between them is in the case where the dice player learns another occupation and is involved. Excuse me for a second. Okay, where were we here? The Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between the explanations of Rabbi Bar Chama and Rav Sheshet? The Gemara answers, the practical difference between them is in a case where the dice player learns another occupation and is involved in that occupation as well. According to Rav Sheshet, since he has a productive occupation, he is fit to bear witness. According to Rabbi Bar Chama, since he's considered a robber, the money he gains from gambling is not legally his. He is disqualified. Utanan, Amar Rav Yehuda, Eimatai, Bizman she'ein lahem umnus elahu, aval yesh lahen umnus shalohu, harezek sheirim, alma tama demasnisan mishum yeshivu shel olam, Kashya l'Rami Bar Chama. The Gemara raises a difficulty against the opinion of Rami Bar Chama, but we learn in the Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda said, when are they disqualified from bearing witness? It is when they have no occupation but this one. But if they have an occupation other than this one, they are fit to bear witness. Apparently, the reason that the Mishnah disqualifies these individuals from bearing witness is that they are not involved in settling the world. And according to the opinion of Rav Sheshet, this poses a difficulty to the opinion of Rami Bar Chama. V'chitim apli Rabbanan alei de Rabbi Yehuda v'ha Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi Kol Makom she'Amar Rabbi Yehuda. And if you would say that this is not difficult, as the rabbis agree with Rabbi Yehuda, this would be a problem as well. But doesn't Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi say, any place Rabbi Yehuda says in the corpus of the Mishnah,